How's it going, my truant people? DrSlaking, the Slacking Doctor, back with week 5? I think week 5 of the UBL. I'm so bad at remembering what weeks. Back with the team builder for your Bowland Bovines, as this week we go up against GoldoaDragon and his New York Empoleons. And I was pretty excited for this one, I'm not going to lie. I've been following Goldoa since GBA D-League, where I started watching him. OPJellicent. I think there were, maybe even... Was Jolt in D-League that season? Maybe not. But there was definitely like a ton of cool people in that GBA D-League season. So I've been watching Goldoa for a while. So again, I say this quite a lot recently because I've been very lucky to battle some great people recently. But I'm definitely going to be over his side of the battle checking that out. As always, all the UBL coaches will be linked down in the description. But yeah, on a personal note, this was just fun for me to get to play against someone who, relatively high profile player and who I admire a lot. So that was really, really cool. But we, of course, are out for blood, despite me thinking he's a great content creator and everything else. I won the W. I really won the W. We are on a 3-game win streak. I believe we are 3-1 going into this week. So we're doing pretty well. We're looking pretty good, and we don't want to lose that momentum, right? We want to keep the ball rolling. We want to keep pushing on. So... without wasting any more of your time, actually, one more thing I want to waste your time with is I want to say thank you. Thank you for so much support on these team builders. Like, the team builders have been getting, just a few views less than the actual battle, which staggered me. I assumed when I was putting the timestamp on the team builders in the other videos that just everyone skipped ahead, but it seems like most of you guys that watched the battle also wanted the team builder, so thank you so much for the support on these. It means the absolute most. I really thought these were going to flop and die, so thank you. Anyway, now without wasting more time, let's have a look at the draft for the New York Empoleons. And I have disappeared. Where have I gone? That's worrying. Do I come back for the first Pokemon on the team? Whoa, things have got messed up. Alright, I'm going to make a quick cut, guys, and then I'll be right back. So here we are, guys. I'm sorry about that cut. Basically, I used this same scene in OBS for the WBE analysis the other day, and it just messed it up slightly. My glasses are filthy. But anyway... so, as you can see, I've just taken my glasses off, which does not help me read this, but, as you can see, my opponent has the Tapu Koko, the Scolipede, the Crocodile, the Skarmory, the Slowbro, the Heracross, Rotom, Cryogonal, Drifblim, Licky, and Zardex. And before we get into this, I do want to give a quick shout out as well to my front office. As always, they are incredibly useful. I am blessed with my front office. In particular, I believe Aquarius and Stromful gave me mocks for this game, and they both terrorized me with Tapu Koko. So, Z Tapu Koko is really, really scary. In this matchup, I'm expecting it either to be like an Electrium Z set, a Shuckerberry set, and they're the main two items that were brought against me in mocks, and I'm very, very fearful of those. However, things like Nosy Scolipede is much easier to deal with, so that's a bit of a relief. And really, there aren't too many other things that my opponent's team that even want to be Z anyway. I've used Z Rotom Mo before, it's not the best, but maybe if you wanted to Scoly, you could go that route. I don't know. So, looking at that, we had some pretty good ideas in team building. The first thing that my front office identified was that Infernape looked pretty good. So I wasn't as convinced. I thought Infernape had some trouble with things like Slowbro, with things like Charizard X, Tapu Koko outspeeding it, Scarf Heracross outspeeding it, Scolipede outspeeding it. I was like, I don't know, do we want Scarf? And then we can't break through Slowbro. Do we want coverage? So I actually didn't take my front office advice immediately. I decided to build around some other things to begin with, and then maybe come back to revisit Infernape once I had a better idea of how I could really use it in this matchup. Sometimes you kind of have to do that. You might think, yeah, this mon has a good matchup, but you need to really think how it fits on the team as a whole. So, the first mon on the team that we have here is Bosch, the Rotom Wash. This thing can come in on Skarmory every single time and click defog. Skarmory can't really touch me. Yes, it can Toxic me, but that's not the end of the world. And then I can Volt Switch out and keep momentum. I don't really like running Rotom Wash with just Volt Switch's Electric Stab, because I feel like it's a little bit weak. For example, Skarmory can just roost on me as I Volt Switch out. However, in this case, it was just the best way. I needed Pump, I needed T-Wave, and I needed Defog. Why do I need those moves? Well, I want T-Wave for the Zardex. This is a very Fizz Def set. It can take a hit from Zardex. I think even at +1, we can take one hit, maybe, if it's not Outrage. And we can T-Wave it. I think we can take a +1 Dragon Claw, and we can T-Wave it. And if we can T-Wave Zardex, we can really slow it down. We also have Pump on here to stop it subbing up. I use this exact set near enough in the APA to take on a Zardex, and it works pretty well. So I'm pretty comfortable using Rotom in this scenario. I think it can do a lot of work. Other than that, Bosch just is really useful to slow things down, being able to T-Wave potentially a Scolipede, being able to just pump through most of my opponent's team. Cryogonal does pretty much hard wallers, but if he loses his speed on Cryogonal, that can be pretty useful for some of my slower threats to break through it. In general, spreading around status is pretty obnoxious, and my opponent's ground type in Crocodile, obviously doesn't want to switch in and take a Hydro Pump. So in general, you know, Rotom-Wash can just abuse its dual stabs. If Licky Licky comes, I'm just going to have to Volt Switch a ton, because that thing is going to be a menace. It does just sponge hits, but at least, you know, I can get momentum off it, which is why I really need Volt Switch as well. Moving on to the second one on the team to partner this, we have Diggersby, and this was a hugely late addition to the team. Shout out to Stromful for this set. I was getting bodied in my mocks by Tapu Koko, and you might think, why? You have double ground types on your team. Well, I didn't originally have Warren on the team here. I just didn't feel like offensively its matchup was that great. There was a whole Skarmory, there was a whole Slowbro, and yeah, this thing can hit those, but if you're like Scarfed or Choice Locked, you can struggle a little bit. And if we were going slow with like SD, Quick Attack, something like that, I really felt like he had decent revenge killers to us with things like Zard X, things like Crocodile that could maybe come in and intimidate me and just do a lot of work. So yeah, and Scarf Heracross as well was a pretty big threat. So I wasn't entirely convinced, but then we realized I needed something for Tapu Koko, so we went AV really bulky, and I mean like pretty much max HP, max per def. I think we had something like 78 attack EVs, something like that. We didn't need a lot of attack EVs, and all that we basically guaranteed with the attack EVs is that Wild Charge under electric terrain will two-shot a Slowbro if it comes in, and will potentially two-shot a Spadef Skarmory, but even if it doesn't, when Skarmory goes for the Roost, I outslow it and I can Quake on it. So that's the kind of thinking of this build, is to make sure that I can't remember Skarmory's base speed, so I might have had to take some IVs out of speed or something like that to underspeed it, but basically just to make sure that I can deal with Skarmory that way. In general, this thing hits this whole team super hard. If I U-turn on like a Crocodile switch in, even U-turn on a Slowbro switch in, I'm still going to get a decent amount of chip off and get out. Yes, I'm not super offensive, but that doesn't mean that I'm not still super strong. This thing doesn't need a ton of investment to be incredibly strong. So yeah, really, really cool set. And shout out to Stormful for suggesting AV Diggersby. It was then from there that I kind of started to see the potential with electric terrain and stuff, and built this set up from his initial suggestion. So, third mod on the team, we have Emiliano, the Salamence, coming in this week as our emergency Zard check. This thing has Intimidate, so basically, even if Zard, if we miss a T-Wave, we miss a Hydro Pump, something like that, we can come in on a +2 Zard, I think, get an Intimidate, always live a Dragon Claw, I'm not sure about Outrage, but always live a Dragon Claw, and then always Oko in return with Draco Meteor. The only way that wouldn't happen is if he's like max HP, max attack, possibly, then it might be like some kind of roll. But in general, the reason I'm running special here is because Zard is slightly bulkier on the physical side, plus I can run Fire Blast to hit that Skarmory if that wants to come in, and the HP flying, very questioned by my front office, but I thought it was useful for Heracross. This thing is a decent way to kill off a Scarf Heracross sweeper in the end game if it's locked into CC or knockoff. I don't want to particularly miss Draco or Fire Blast, so we can just HP flying that thing and destroy it. Roost, of course, for longevity, and you might see this item down here on the bottom left, is the Hub Bandberry. That basically means that we can take 50% less from his super effective Dragon type hit, halves the damage in essence. So that's why we tank that Outrage or Dragon Claw from the Zard X, and of course with the Intimidate ability, helping us to lower it by 1 stage in its attack as well. Really, really fun Salamence set. It's not often that, well, I guess this thing can be really run like defensive, Lure with a Resist Berry, offensive, Scarf, Z. Like, this thing is super, super versatile. It's growing on me. I wanted to trade it away almost immediately. I didn't want to draft it to begin with, but slowly it's growing on me. I think I'm getting much more out of it this season than the last time I drafted it, so who knows. Now, fourth one on the team after Emiliano, we have Chum the Sharpedo making his debut on the channel. As you can see there, with that base 95 attack plus speed boost, we're going to be able to outspeed essentially all of my opponent's primary Scarfers, things like Crocodile, things like Heracross, maybe Drifloon, I doubt it, but after a +1 boost anyway, we'll be able to outspeed most of my opponent's primary Scarfers. The only things we would have to worry about is a Scarf like Tapu Koko, which seems pretty unlikely in this matchup. Scarf Rotom Mo could be possible too, we'll outspeed that. With the combination of Liquidation, Crunch, and Earthquake, we really just rip my opponent's team to pieces. I need to do something with that Skarmory though, because Skarmory will wall me, and I need to whistle down the Slowbro too, as that thing will be pretty tanky. Protect is on here just to make sure that we guaranteed get our +1 off, and also we could potentially protect on like Z-moves or something like that if we want to scout from the Tapu Koko. We do have the Focus Sash, but funnily enough, Electrium Z does just straight up kill through Protect unless you have the Focus Sash, so we need to be careful of that. That's something we need to be aware of. If I need to keep my Focus Sash intact, I might have to play around the Koko very carefully to scout for Z. But I did have Poison Jab on this at one point instead of Earthquake to hit the Koko and the Rotom Mo. I then changed it back to Quake just to hit Koko harder. I decided that he wouldn't be Shukaberry, and then I decided in the game that he could be Shukaberry, and you will see tomorrow on the upload exactly how that pans out. Regardless, I'm hoping Chum can do work here. This is a primary late game sweeper, rather than bringing like Scarf Ape or Scarf Diggersby, as I've done a lot this season. We finally have a mon that can just boost itself up, switch moves, and offer a really good speed control for the team. So, moving on to the 5th mon on the team, we have another defensive kind of bait set, I guess. This is my best way of handling Scolipede and potential Guts Heracross. Heracross really wants to knock me off to be able to KO me, and I have the Psychic on there to hit it super hard. Scolipede really wants to like throat chop me to be able to hit me that hard. I ran Scolipede for a full season. I loved it, so I kind of know how it needs to hit things. It could be Aqua Tail as well, but if he's Aqua Tail and I click Shore Up on the first Aqua Tail, we get the +1 because of Water Compaction, and then he can't break me anyway. So it's one of those things where I might have to make a bit of prediction around Scolipede, whether I think he's Throat Chop or Aqua Tail, but primarily the Heracross also can't beat me with Knockoff. So definitely really, really fun. Palossand set with that Psychic, Shadow Ball, Earth Power. We've got no rocks in this game whatsoever. I don't think I'm ever going to keep them up because I'm going to be defogging on the Skarmory a ton, I imagine. And yes, no rocks seems weird against the Charizard team, but I think it's just crucial here because I know I'm going to be defogging. I'd rather have all the offensive momentum and just pressure him. If I can stop my opponent from ever getting hazards up, then that's even better. So I'm just going to play this as offensively as possible. Shadow Ball plus Earth Power hits the rest of my opponent's team. For example, Skarmory doesn't want to stay in on Shadow Balls and keep roosting. I'll probably do around 40% if it's Fizz Def set, and eventually I will get a Spadef drop, so it puts me in a difficult situation. Earth Power, of course, hitting the Tapu Koko and other things too. So yeah, pretty good Crystal set. I think Crystal has been fantastic since we traded for it this season. Definitely a mon I've been enjoying using, so I'm hoping it can prove even more here what it can do. Now, the final mon on the team is the first mon that I mentioned. As we have Wukong the Infernape rounding us off, I managed to find the exact set I wanted in the end, as we are running a Nasty Plot E-Belt set. Yes, Scolipede can revenge me, but I now know that I have my Palossand to always wall that thing. Yes, Tapu Koko can revenge me, but I now have my Diggersby to always wall that thing. Scarf Heracross can revenge me, but I have a combination of like Salamence and Palossand that can wall that thing. So in general, like, I feel much better about the revenge killers being able to handle them than I did when I initially looked at Wukong in this matchup. I've drafted, or I've built a team support to let this set go absolutely crazy. This is my designated lead in this matchup. No matter what I see him bring, I'm leading with Infernape, I'm bluffing Choice Scarf, and I'm clicking Nasty Plot turn 1. If he goes into Slowbro, he's either going to give me the Slowbro to the Grass Knot, or he's going to have to pivot into something like Skarmory to take the Grass Knot, and then I'm getting off a Flamethrower, or I'm getting off a Focus Blast. And in general, the only things faster than me in Scolipede and Tapu Koko, you probably don't risk in hard on an Infernape because they are going to take so much damage, and they're probably your win cons, and you don't want to lose them turn 2 or 3. So I think because of the way this thing works, I can just set up a Nasty Plot, bluffing the Scarf, and then go crazy against my opponent's team. That's very much my intention here. Expert Belt just gives us extra damage output on everything that we need. If Zardex wants to come in and try and set up on me, +2 Focus Blast is going to do so much. so much. So yeah, really optimistic that this set can go in. Hoping that Wukong can prove my front office right that it has a great matchup here, but we'll have to wait and see. Let me know what you guys think of the build. Hopefully you guys are looking forward to battle tomorrow, but I'm going to leave it here. Thank you so much for loafing around with me, and I'll catch you again next time.